episode of Millennials in Ministry. I'm your host, Erin V. Lashley, and I have a special guest on the line with us, PEABOD Raps. What's up, PEABOD?
What's up? How are you, Erin?
Good, good. So glad to have you with us today.
Awesome. Me too. Happy to be here.
Yeah. You know what? I discovered your music through Spotify because I was listening to Spotify, and I always check out recommended music for you. And so I just listened through it, and then Shoot from the Hip came on.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, what is this song? Like, I'm really digging this right now. And it literally, I listened to it several times. I added it to our young adult playlist for our young adult Bible study. I'm like, y'all got to check this guy out. And then I looked on Instagram and saw that you were there. And this just took a leap of faith, you know, and asked if I could interview you. You said yes, and now we're here. So I'm excited about today, man. It's really, really a privilege for me to interview you. But first question I want to ask you is, what does PEABOD mean? Where does that come from?
Great question. So my full name's Isaac Peabody. My last name's Peabody. So when I was in college, there were two Isaacs on the dorm floor that we were on. So I just went by PEABOD most of the time. So it's actually a college nickname. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I saw one of your videos. I forget the name of the song where you were in a pool of peas.
Oh yeah, for the
I'm like, yes.
Yep.
I was like, this must mean a lot to him, so I gotta ask him first. But tell me, how did you get into writing rap? Like, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I mean, I've played music as long as I can remember. I think I started taking piano lessons in like second grade or something. So music's been part of my life for a long time. But really, when I started writing music in high school, it was more like folk music, like singer-songwriter, super acoustic.
Yeah.
And so I put out two projects independently. They were just kind of folk singer-songwriter stuff.
Okay.
But the whole time was like listening to a ton of hip hop and like learning that world and like loved hip hop a lot. But I was always and I was making beats too, but I wasn't like showing it to anybody. Because I was always like, I couldn't rap. Like, no one would take me seriously as a rapper.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at me, right? But I don't know. I kind of had this idea. I was like, well, what if like being taken seriously wasn't the point? Like, what if it was just for fun? And I live in a house with four other dudes. And one of them, at the time, one of the guys I was living with was named Fletcher. And one of my other roommates was like, hey, you should write a song about Fletcher because he's just like a good dude. He's like super funny. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And so I wrote this song called Summer of Fletcher. That's the first.
Love that song.
Thank you. That's the first PEABOD song that I did. And it got like a really great response. And I had I had way more fun recording that track than I had like previously on any of my folk stuff. Even though I enjoyed that, it was like just so refreshing to make something purely for fun. And so I was like, this is good. I really enjoyed it, and that's where the intro came from. The like, this is good for me, good for everyone. That line. I was like, I'm just gonna write this because it's like it's good for my soul to just write fun music. And so that's where the whole kind of PEABOD idea of, you know, happy hip hop came about. Just like, I'm just gonna do this because it's fun and I want to. So wrote that album independently and released it, and then the record label heard it, and here we are.
That's awesome. So, congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment, you know, from one song to a record label and everything.
Totally.
That's actually my favorite thing about Healthy Snacks album is the fact that it's a feel-good album where I literally can listen to the whole thing from beginning to end and not feel like annoyed or that I need to put in somebody else's song. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's why people make playlists. But I love your album. Like Tori Kelly's album is like that. Bruno Mars' albums are like that, where it's like you could just listen to the whole thing. So I love your music for sure.
I could geek out on the new Tori project with you for hours because it is like, holy crap, it's so freaking good. It's so good.
Whoa, it's actually better than what I thought it was gonna be.
Me too.
Like I love that one thing she released. I forget the name of it with Kirk Franklin, and they were like going to town on Instagram. Like, this is gonna be great. And then I thought maybe the whole album would be kind of like that, but it's like when songs go like this, you
Mm-hmm.
can just listen the whole time, you
Yep.
know. But
Mm-hmm.
when they're like this, it's like, okay, I need something else.
Yep.
And
Totally.
yours is like, it's got good grooves.
Thank
I
you.
love the collaborations, you know.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
so what's the story behind Healthy Snacks? Like, why choose that as a title for an album?
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know. I think because I was like, okay, I'm gonna go by Peabod. I was like, well, it would be funny to do something like with vegetables. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like just kind of funny. But then I also just had this idea as I was writing. I was like, the idea of like healthy snacks are good for your body and like good music is good for your soul.
Yeah.
That was kind of the analogy for the whole album is like,
Okay.
you know, this is good for me, good for everybody. So
Yeah. I
that
love
was
that.
that was the idea is like this album is a healthy snack for your soul. Like
Right.
just have fun, don't overthink it, just enjoy it,
Yeah.
be happy. So yeah,
Yeah. So talk to me, Peabod, I'll call you Peabod,
yeah, that's great.
about your craft.
Hmm.
Like obviously you're an incredible writer. Like
Thank you.
what is it like when you're writing songs? Do the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics come first? Are you inspired by music first?
Mm-hmm.
How do you write your music?
Yeah, it depends a little bit on the song. I'd say more often than not, it'll be like I'll have an idea for like a phrase or like one line that's kind of like the essence of a song, and
Hmm.
or sometimes I'll be like, I just really want to write a song that's called this thing because I think it would be fun to say like, check out my new song called Hat Hair because that's like a funny thing to say that like I have
Yeah,
a song called Hat Hair.
right.
So sometimes it starts with that and then I'll kind of like start riffing on the idea and I'll make a beat with that in mind and so they kind of go together. um,
Okay.
Oftentimes it depends on like what my schedule is like because I've written
Okay.
some songs where I have an idea like on a plane and then I'm like just typing out, you know, in my notes lyrics and stuff and then I'll come back and
Yeah.
like record the ideas that I've had.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll make a beat and like right now I'm working on a song that like I just made the beat because I was like this sounds cool and then I was like what should
Yeah.
it be about and so but more often than not it starts with like the concept for the song and then
Sure.
writing and producing at the
Okay.
same time. So
You've got quite a few fans asking about your next album. Any clue? I mean, I feel like this one just came out, but
yeah,
any thoughts on?
yeah, it's kind of a funny thing because I feel like 2018 is like a really weird time to be releasing music because on the
Yeah,
one hand, like the people who are dedicated are like, yes, I'll listen to your whole album, like,
yeah,
but like we love it, and then there are people who it's like you need like just a single to get in like a playlist to get noticed.
mhm,
So
right.
my I think probably what I'll end up doing is for the next few months I'll start releasing some consistent singles. Uh,
Mm,
I've got two or three new songs that are all but done. They just need
okay.
to get mixed and mastered, and so so I don't know if I'm supposed to say this yet, but I've got like a Christmas song that I've
Okay,
got ready,
cool.
and then a song that'll follow like in the months after that. So
That's
uh,
awesome.
yeah, so the goal is to be like not necessarily like every month, but like fairly regularly like releasing singles and just
I
trying
love
stuff
it.
out, you know, working with
Yeah,
different producers, trying different sounds, that kind of
that's
stuff.
cool.
So I think we'll do that for a while. And
Okay.
but I definitely like I have, you know, I love thinking about like a whole packaged album. I think
Yeah.
like for artists, the idea of albums kind of going away is really sad because,
Mhm.
you know, it's like the idea of putting something together that's like a whole story is so
Yeah.
exciting and attractive.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. Right.
you know, writing singles is really fun, but anyways, I think I want to make sure that I'm musically at my best when I go into like full
Mhm.
album mode.
Sure.
And I think writing some singles and trying some things out will help me like hone my craft a little more. Uh,
Yeah.
and also, I want to make sure that like enough of a following is there that when I put a bunch of work into an album, it feels worth it.
Sure.
And you know, obviously, like doing healthy snacks felt worth it because I just did it for the love of it, for
Yeah.
fun, and it's had a good little splash. But I'd want to make sure that it wasn't like okay, album 2 is coming out, and really everyone only knows like one song from it.
Sure,
I'd want
sure.
it to be like, okay, there's some longevity here. So,
Yeah.
and that just takes some time. So probably a bunch of singles before another album.
And I think that's really smart because I listen to a ton of playlists. I discover music based upon algorithms that Spotify puts together
Yep.
and based on what I like. And literally, that's how I discovered you. And I'm so glad I did because I love your stuff and all my siblings love it. Like, we grew up
Awesome.
in this new era. I'm like, "Guys, you got to check this guy out. He talks about like Rugrats and like Gushers and like Ring Pops." Like,
That's
they
awesome.
love it too. So it's really, really good. But tell me, what's your favorite song off Healthy Snacks and why?
Oh man. I really like, I go back and forth between the outro and Steady.
Hmm.
Because I mean, so I just got engaged, so that's,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
So like that's the best because obviously I love my fiance.
Right.
But also that's the that's the song that I wrote last. Like the whole project was done, and then I added Steady kind of last minute.
Okay. Okay.
And so I felt like that one's fun for me because I felt like, okay, I really know the PEABOD voice and like kind of not, I guess, brand a little bit at that point.
Right.
Like, this is what I sound like. This is how I produce for PEABOD stuff. So
Yeah.
I felt like the vibe on that song feels really like true to where I'm at now and
Mm-hmm.
where I want to go in the future. I think that that's kind of a good indicator for what things will sound like going forward.
Very cool.
But I also really like the outro because it's kind of my mission statement. It's like filling in all the holes that maybe I didn't talk about in the album and making it like very clear that even though I don't talk about Jesus on all my songs, like I am very much a Christian artist, even though, even though I rap about my roommates or Coca-Cola or whatever.
Right.
So I think I like that song because I think, I don't know, I like feeling known. I think everyone likes feeling known. And so having an opportunity to say, this is who I am and what I'm about. If you're on board, sweet. And if you're not, that's okay, because at least you know where I stand. So so those are kind of, I think, my two faves. So
I love it. So for fun, Peabody, tell me, like, what's your favorite 90s kid television show?
oh man, maybe like, I mean, I grew up on Arthur when I was like really little.
Yes, I
Yeah.
remember Arthur. Yeah.
Arthur was like
Love
my
it.
jam. And we didn't have
Yeah.
cable or anything, so all the PBS kids stuff, I was like Arthur, Cyber Chase,
That's
like,
totally my life,
yep.
dude. Oh my gosh. Hey Arnold was one of my
Yep.
favorites.
Football head.
Even Stevens was one of my favorites.
Classic.
Yeah. And what about you for like snacks or like candy, like 90s kids candy? Anything come to mind for you?
Oh man. I'm trying to think. I mean, like, I think everyone grew up on like Goldfish, but like kids are still growing up on Goldfish.
Right.
Oh man. I used to like, I feel like I just ate a lot of like junk. Like, I don't think my parents like were feeding me a bunch of junk, but when I got to the age where I was like, I can eat whatever I want because I'm in middle school and they can't, I'll sneak food. It was like lots of like Little Debbie's and just like that kind of stuff. But
yeah. I like Ring Pops a lot and like Gushers.
Yeah. Remember like Push Pops? Like yeah, those are really good.
Those are good too. Those are really good.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of people listening, obviously, that are fans of yours, fans of your music, and maybe some other millennials out there. This podcast, I created it because I wanted to have a podcast for millennials that want to make a difference in their communities. So I want to ask you, for those that are out there that want to make a difference, what kind of advice, any advice that you would give to other millennials wanting to make a difference in their community? What would you say?
Yeah. That's a really interesting question because I think it's been a really interesting year because I signed with my label in November last year, so it's coming up on a year with Centricity.
Okay.
And, like I said earlier, I made the album originally like just totally for fun. And so I wasn't thinking of it as like, this is going to be my ministry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had someone the other day who messaged me and was like, praying for you and your ministry, bro, which is so nice. And I was like, oh, like, yeah. That's what's happening now. And and there, you know, another person messaged me the other day and said there was a kid at camp who heard the outro song and was like, I want to know the Jesus that rapper's talking about. Like, stuff that I never imagined or dreamed would come from this album, because I was like, this is just supposed to be fun, kind of like just enjoy it and that's it. So I think for me, it's been a process of being like, okay, God obviously has some sort of plan for this music, because one kid came to know Jesus because of it. That's not anything I did. That's all his work. And also, like, the amount of people who are saying, like, I've been really encouraged by your music, or like that kind of stuff that is beyond me, you know, like that's not, that's the Lord working through it. So so I guess any advice I could give, I feel like to a degree, I know I'm not here by accident, but to me it feels that way a little bit, because I wasn't like, this is going to be my path, I'm going to make this impact, I want to you know, affect these people in this way. It's like God knew what he was going to do. So I think being really aware of the ways that God has gifted you, and the things that you feel him like moving you towards. Like, I know that he was moving me towards music as ministry, but I knew that he had put a desire in me to make music and to write music. And so I was being faithful to that just because I love writing music, and it's a spiritual experience for me just personally, and I'd be doing it even if no one was listening. So I think like it's different for, like, I guess, different kinds of ministry, because you know, if you're like going to be doing like homeless outreach and that's your passion, it's pretty, you get pretty quick that that's like a ministry. But I think so I don't know, I'm learning, I guess, is what I'm saying, like what it means for this to be a ministry, and how to like really trust God and see what he wants to do with it. Because so far it's been all him, like, guiding, and me just kind of going, oh, I guess this is what's happening now, okay. No,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I guess the advice is see what you're good at, see what you're interested in, and God will use it. So I love what you said, because, you know, my whole life since I was 13 till now, like, I've always worked in a church. Like, I've always been in church, grew up in church, started working in one because I loved it, loved community, loved the local church, always have, always will. But now, like, literally starting a brand new job tomorrow, and now I can't necessarily say I'm in the full-time ministry anymore. But even doing this platform and this type of podcast, and realizing the more people that I interview and collaborate with, I'm realizing that, you know, what you do with your hands is your ministry, just like what you're talking about. And, like, you know, people who are even Christians or not Christians, like, everybody is, whatever message you're putting out with what you have and what gifts you have is your ministry, you know. Totally. And that's been kind of a comfort to me. Bob Goff has this great quote where he says, like, don't call it ministry, call it Tuesday. Like, it's, you know,
I like that.
Yeah, it's like, if you're a Christian, your life is ministry, you know, like God is using you in some way to or like that should be our goal. And so I think that has like a less heaviness to it, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's what does God want to do with my life, not like how can I, like, I don't know. I think we do have a responsibility to be good stewards of what he's given us, but also, like, he's all powerful, and he's doing stuff whether or not we're on board. So
that's true.
So I think there's some comfort in that. It's like, we all should be living our lives as ministry, because if you're a Christian, like, that's just kind of how it is. And then it's not necessarily like, well, are you in full-time ministry, or are you like a pastor, or, you know, it's like we're all doing it. We're all on the same playing field, on the same team. So I think that's great. And congratulations on your new job, by the way.
Thank you so much. So finally, Peabod, I just want to ask you, and you get so many people commenting about your like, they just love your music. You're just great. You're just awesome. I'm like, wow, okay. So many questions and everything, but I do need to wrap this up with you. But Final question, people want to stay in touch with you and your music. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, honestly, Instagram is great. I post a lot of stuff on Instagram, any social media in general.
Okay.
We're going to start getting my website kind of more updated as tour dates come in. So,
Okay.
so that's peabodraps.com. It's Peabod Raps everywhere. That's like all my
Gotcha.
socials. So,
are you on Snapchat too? Is that Snap, Twitter,
I'm not
Instagram?
on Snapchat right now. I'm on
Okay.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Got it.
And yeah, then the website will get going soon. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview.
Absolutely.
It's been great to chat with you and just get to know you a little bit more in your music. Keep doing what you're doing because you're making a huge impact on this generation. So appreciate you, Peabod. Have a great day, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you, Erin.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Have a great
No
one.
problem. You too. Talk to you later.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye-bye.